Welcome to another edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and please join me and my guests on this next interview. Now, Russia and Belarus have kicked off the joint Zapad 2025 military exercise from 12th to 16th of September, involving troop maneuvers, drills with drones and electronic warfare, and practice with nuclear-capable systems near Poland's border. Now, all this amid concerns over recent drone incursions into Polish airspace. Joining us today on TVP World is retired Lieutenant Colonel Krzysztof Patek, a former spokesperson of Eurocorps, an expert in NATO operation and Eastern European defense affairs. Hello, sir, and welcome to TVP World.
Good afternoon.
So, can you help us understand what are the strategic purpose of this exercise from Russia and Belarus, especially with the context of the war just beyond the borders?
In my opinion, the main purpose of just current Zapad exercises is to show deterrence capabilities of Russia and Belarus. Also, because Russia needs to show their capabilities that it has still enough strength to respond other threats from different directions, because thousands of the Russian soldiers currently are involved in about 1,000 kilometers of the front line in the Ukraine because of Russian aggression. So it is just a message from Russia that we have more capabilities and we can do more if we will see any danger for our country. So it's also in their own way the message.
That's very interesting because, of course, a lot of people looking at Russia being the aggressor would immediately draw the conclusion of perhaps this is another threat to Western nations. But we also see scenarios involving nuclear capabilities and systems like the Orishnik missile. Do you think that that might, in a way, change NATO's threat assessment or have any influence?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't, because Russia and Belarus has to do this. Because last year we heard that Russia wants to redeploy some nuclear assets to Belarus. So now they have a difficult situation because they have a dual subordination of some forces, of some nuclear forces. So they have to exercise this. So it's their main purpose, to train this and just solve any conflicts if they can appear in the future, if they have to use it.
Right.
So it's just a part of their preparations to use it also from the Belarus soil.
Right, and so how credible do you think is the assurance from Russia and Belarus that this exercise is not directed against NATO members?
Somehow it is directed, of course, against NATO members, because Russia treats NATO as a threat.
Yeah,
so
for
them it's obvious. So it is directed as to the NATO members, and the message is sent to the NATO, of course, because they just see only NATO as an only enemy.
Yeah.
Because they don't see China as enemy. Of course, they still are at war with Japan, yes, because they never signed a peace treaty. So, but the main enemy for the Russia, of course, is NATO.
But do you think that the recent drone incursion into Polish airspace would play any role in altering perceptions when it comes to the threat and urgency?
We still have them about electronic warfare, so we still struggle with these activities of Russian Federation. They still jump the signal from Królewicz region. So it's nothing new for the Poland and for NATO members in the region.
We also saw that Poland's deployed closing its border with Belarus and even deploying tens of thousands of troops there as well. What extent do you think the response is proportional? Do you find it necessary?
In my opinion, just main step is keep calm and observe. Of course, the Zapad 2025 is an exercise under observation of Organization of Security and OSCE, yes, of Security and Cooperation in Europe. So we have observers in Belarus, but also the launching and exercises in Poland, also in Latvia, in Lithuania, is a good answer, because if anything happen, if anything happen, if any hostile activities will Russia Federation can be done by Russia Federation. So it's good to have the forces on the positions. Yes, so 40,000 Polish soldiers, about 17,000 Polish and German soldiers in Lithuania, and another 12,000 in Latvia, also including Polish contingent in Latvia. Mm-hmm. So it's a good answer just to keep an eye on Russians, what they are doing, even that this year iteration of exercises consists only of about 13,000 in Belarus of Russian and Belarusian soldiers. So it's not so many. Okay, we can triple these numbers because we can say that other soldiers in Russia are involved, like in the strategic forces and with nuclear capabilities. Also, we can include some support forces like logistics, and also we can probably include Northern Fleet. Probably they can train during this exercise. But it is not the same situation what happened 4 years ago. Because 4 years ago we have seen about 200,000 soldiers, and after this exercise they launched an attack into the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. So currently we are in completely different situations. So in my opinion, we should stay calm.
Right, like I mentioned, we are looking at very drastically different numbers, and of course people are rightfully worried about having these troops at the border. But again, like you mentioned, with the peacekeepers, well, the observers kind of in place with more transparency this time, do you think under this sharing of information, it would be able to substantially reduce any sort of escalatory risk?
Also, we heard one more thing from the NATO today, that NATO launched an Eastern Sentry operation. Yeah. Yes, so we have not only forces during the exercises in Poland, Latvia and Lithuania, but we also have in the air and in other domains some assets, surveillance assets. So we will be ready if something is going to happen. Right. Because NATO already achieved the lessons and learned something from the last situation, last Russian drones incursion to the Polish soil.
Brilliant. So stay vigilant, but remain calm. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And thank you for tuning into this edition of World Talks. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.